Yes, Mr. Coach.
My apologies, my lady. I was just reminded by my colleagues that I didn't finish the last point that I put to the witness. And that's just regarding the four or the persons mentioned in the signal.
Okay, Mr. Stemmet, just remember you are still under oath, and one of the evidence leaders has more questions to ask you.
Mr. Stemmet, remember you mentioned that the signal mentioned 4 persons.
Did you say that? We can't hear the witness now. Please attend to that.
Mr. Stemmet? We can't hear you.
Is someone attending to that problem, please? We never short of hiccups. That's the nature of virtual hearings.
You see, I wanted to
We see Ms. Butelezi, we shouldn't have adjourned.
I am so sorry.
My throat. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but we can't see you.
Can we go on the passing? Not a bit.
We still can't hear the witness.
Can you not hear it?
Yes, loud and clear.
All right, well, then can we continue, my lady?
Yes, please, if you may.
Thank you. Just with regard to those persons mentioned in the signal.
I can't remember how many persons were mentioned in the signal, but there was right from the beginning, there was talks about the Cradock fall. The newspapers, anything in the news and the radio, television, there was always people speaking about the Cradock fall. So I can't remember which document contained 2 names and which document contained 4 names.
Yes.
Regarding the teachers, Stradon spoke about Goniva and Kalata. I think they were math teachers, which were very, very scarce. I can't remember the names of the other 2.
Yes, and that is where I want to get to. Because the third one mentioned in the signal, Mr. Mbulelo Goniwa was not a teacher. So how could he be transferred?
He was not a teacher. How could he be transferred?
I don't know.
And then the second point I wanted to make is the 4th person that had been killed was in fact Mr. Msahuli, who was not even teaching in Cradock. He was from the Southern Cape.
I don't know who were teachers and who were not. I presume that Kalata and Goniwa were. But I can't remember what the other 2 did. Whether they were teachers or not, I don't know.
But you now understand my difficulty with this contention that the signal meant that these persons should be transferred as teachers to some other town.
I don't know to whom they must have referred to the teachers only, because how can other people be transferred, making pointed as teachers?
Yes. No further questions, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Ms. Buthelezi.
Thank you, my lady. Good afternoon, Mr. Stemmet. Is it afternoon? Yeah. So, my lady, I'm going to refer to documents from the following bundles, Volume B2 and the Volume G declassified documents. I am also going to, as I refer to each document, I believe Mr. Govinder introduced the Volume L6 bundle that was handed up today. For ease of reference, I will also reference those pages so that everyone else can follow. Thank you. So, Mr. Stemmet, in 1985, you were head of Branch Strategic Communication of the Secretariat of the State Security Council, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. And because of that position, you were asked to explain various minutes and other documents in light of the security and national security management system. Is that correct?
What is the sixth one? Yes. Valerie, can my learned friend just clarify when Mr. Stemmet was supposedly asked these questions?
This was before the Zietsman Commission. So before the okay.
That's questions.
Or inquest.
To clarify, could my learned friend repeat the question, please?
Sure. Because of your position that you just confirmed, you were asked to explain the various minutes and other documents before the Zietsman inquest in light of the security and national security management system. That was the reason why you were called before the Zietsman inquest. Is that correct?
Yes, I think that was the reason why I was called.
Yes, thank you. Now, if we could turn to, all right, let's go to Volume 6, which is Volume L6, which is the bundle that was handed up this morning, at page 11, please. And this is your November 1992 statement or affidavit that you submitted before the Zietsman inquest. The original reference of it would be Volume B2 at page 5057, but in the bundle before us now, it would be at page 11 of Volume L6. Are you there, my lady?
Yes, I support it.
Perhaps Mr. Hiernes could assist you, Mr. Stemmet?
I shall.
Pardon? I didn't catch that.
I shall help. I shall assist you. We got it by the relevant statement in front of us, and I can assist Mr. Stemmet.
Oh, great.
If somebody, you can just raise it to me.
Well, what is the question?
Oh, okay, thank you. Sorry, I wasn't aware that you were there yet, but thank you. Now I am. All right, at paragraph 4 of that statement, you say that the Eastern Province Joint Management Center was the principal body through which the system functioned at regional level. Is that correct?
Let's begin on.
Okay, the principal organ at regional level was the joint management system. Okay?
Yeah, that's right.
Is that correct? Thank you.
Hmm.
At paragraph 6 of the same affidavit, you say that the JMC functioned as a coordinating body between departments, and where matters could not be resolved, they would be sent over, the State Security Council would become involved. Is that correct?
The State Security Council would become involved. It's not the State Security Council, it's the Secretariat of the State Security.
The State Security Secretariat. Can we go to paragraph?
Yes.
Paragraph 6. Oh, it's November, right? I just want...
Sorry, if I may just assist my learned colleague. It does not say the State Security Council would become involved. It says that the Secretariat of the State Security Council would be called in to assist to solve problems and to provide advice. That's what it says.
Yes, Ms. Buthelezi.
Okay, thank you. That's fine. Paragraph 6. Then in paragraph 5, you say that in the meetings of the Eastern Province Joint Management Center, the school situation was a matter of concern and there were often discussions about it. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And then we go to paragraph 7, where you say that the decision to send a signal to the State Security Council concerning Mr. Goniwe.
No, with respect, my lady, my learned colleague is not correct. It's the Secretariat of the State Security Council.
Yes, Ms. Buthelezi.
Thank you, my lady. My lady, we were relying on unofficial translations. Okay. The Secretariat of the State Security Council concerning Mr. Goniwe, as recorded in paragraph 26 of the Eastern Province JMC meeting of 23 May 1985, and that this was the standard communication practice. Is that correct?
That's it. I think that the signal to send this signal to the Secretariat as contained in paragraph 26 of that meeting of the TBS recording of 23 May 1980 was an example of the normal practice.
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay. Let's turn to those minutes of the 23 May 1985,
89.
which we will find at page 15 of L6. Is my lady there? Where's the translation? I need to check this out. Yeah, so at paragraph 26 of those minutes, there's a recommendation that a signal be sent to, I now need to, is this the Secretariat? The SSVR, for submission to relevant ministers. Is that correct?
Let me just get it.
We're just finding the paragraph.
Sure.
What did he say?
So
Okay.
it's paragraph 26.
We've got the paragraph. We can take the question.
Okay. So paragraph 26 says, a recommendation is made that a signal be sent to the SSVR, which is the Secretariat of the State Security Council, and that it be conveyed to relevant ministers. Is that correct?
Mhm.
It says, if you want to know whether it's correct, that paragraph 26 says that a signal will be sent to the Secretariat of the State Security Council, which must also be passed on to the relevant ministers. Is that correct? Is that a standard?
That is correct.
Thank you. Then, is it correct that that recommendation was that Mr. Goniwe and Mr. Fort Galata should never again be appointed? We're still at paragraph 26.
Matthew Goneve and Paul Talata must never be appointed again.
That is from the JMC. I can see it, yes.
Is this answer yes? Okay. So, is it correct that by 23 May 1985, the Eastern Province Joint Management Center had already formally recommended, through a signal to the Secretariat of the Security Council, that Mr. Goniwe and Mr. Kalata should never be reappointed?
That is correct. That is what the minutes say. But in the meantime, Mr. Jaap Cradock had other views. He was from head office and he had other views. He wanted to appoint him.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So, if we move to paragraph 16 of those very same minutes, paragraph 16 records that at Lingalihle in Cradock, there was still a demand that Matthew Goniwe and Fort Kalata be reappointed. Is that correct?
So that we just see it.
That would be on page
27.
27.
At Zingalile, at Cradock, some of the classes have been suspended. It's still being demanded that Matthew Goneve and Fort Kalata must be reappointed.
That is what I can see.
Okay, thank you. So, is it correct that the issue of Mr. Goniwe and Mr. Kalata's reappointment was already a contentious matter within the security management system by 23 May 1985?
As I mentioned before in my evidence, we had adjacent buildings and we saw Mr. Cradock and Mr. Vermaat every day. And they insisted that they wanted the two to be reappointed.
All right, thank you. But do you confirm or do you accept that the reappointment issue of Mr. Kalata and Mr. Goniwe was already a contentious issue by 23 May? I mean, that's the question. I understand you were conferring with Mr. Stratham, but that wasn't the question.
So we accept that was a contentious issue.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's go back to your affidavit of November 1992. We go back to paragraph 8. You'll find that on page 11 of the L6 bundle. At paragraph 8 of your affidavit, you say that at the meeting of the Secretariat State Security Council Action Committee on 6 June 1985, Mr. Stratham reported on his engagement with Mr. Goniwe and the situation in Cradock. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. You then say that after that, the matter was referred to a committee under the leadership of the Secretariat of the State Security Council. Is that correct?
That's right.
Thank you. Let's refer to the memo dated 18 June 1985. You'll find that at page 90 of L6. Do we have a translation of this? Are you there? Okay. So
What is your question?
thank you. I haven't asked it yet. I'm going to. First, I'm just going to summarize paragraph 2.1 of the memorandum, which records that at a JMC meeting.
Give us a moment. Just give us a moment to get to the. What page?
Page 90 of L6. Is that correct? Good. Mike, have you checked L6? You have it? No, not this. I'm talking open the. Okay, it's fine. We've done that exercise. Fine. I can do it actually. Hello, darling.
Have you got the page?
Page 90.
Shall I go?
So I'm going to now read paragraph 2.1. I'm not going to read it. I'm going to paraphrase it in English. But we're now at paragraph 2.1, sorry. On paginated page 90. Are you there?
We're there. Thank you.
All right. So at paragraph 2.1 records that at a JMC meeting under Deputy Minister Flock on 6 June 1985, a special committee under the chairmanship of the Secretariat of the Security Council was appointed to investigate the matter of Mr. Goniwe's reappointment and to make recommendations. Do you agree that that's the...
Yes, can I explain?
Before
The
you
meeting
do, I
was-
have a question. So before you do explain, I haven't asked the question yet. I've just simply summarized it. I'd like to first ask my question.
Well, they said they agrees, and he wants to elaborate on his affirmation.
I want to tell you what body this was. That was a joint management staff containing of the senior intelligence people. They were not part of the national security management system. That was a body that, on the orders of the president, at that stage, met every morning at 8 o'clock, considering the previous day's intelligence and previous night's intelligence, and to make recommendations. It was usually under the command of General Ian Gleason of the Army and Ben Stevens, Lieutenant General, both Lieutenant General Ben Stevens. And this was not a management system. They referred the matter to us, and then it landed in. And their duty was to report every day and to suggest action. What action should be taken as a result of what happened the previous night and the president changed it. They appointed the deputy minister, police and armed defense force. It was Mr. Flock to chair the meeting. Bad decision.
Mr. Sturmett, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I was struggling to hear you. I don't know if you could maybe break it down into smaller sentences so that I can confirm whether I heard the answer, but the truth is I couldn't make out what you just said.
I say that this committee existed of the senior, usually the second in command of the intelligence department. That's National Intelligence, Police, Foreign Affairs, and Defense Force. They're number twos, and I was co-opted as a member, and later on General Varensberg as well. And we did not meet regularly, but at that stage, 1985, the country was burning, and we had instructions from Mr. Botha, the President to meet every day and every morning early. He wanted his security report and suggestion action. That was just.
Okay. Thank you for that. So, all right, here comes my question. Now, what is mentioned in paragraph 2.1 of this memorandum, is that the same process you describe in paragraph 8 of your 1992 November affidavit?
This is the same process. Paragraph 8.
We have to have a look at them.
Okay.
We'll have to look at that. Can you refer us to the page number?
Paragraph, okay, it's page 11 of the bundle. This is where you say that at a meeting of the Secretariat State Security Committee Action Committee on 6 June, Mr. Straydon reported on his engagement with Mr. Goniwe and the situation in Cradock. And thereafter, that the matter was referred to a committee under the leadership of the Secretariat State Security Council.
Okay, the subcommittee, the one that you refer to now, is the same one, the one to which you refer here in paragraph 8, where you say at the meeting of the subcommittee of 6 June 1985, Straydon van onderwijs opleiding made a report regarding the interview with Mr. Goniwe and the situation in Cradock. As a consequence of which, the matter was referred to a committee under the guidance and leadership of the Secretariat of State Security Council.
It's in my main statement I made this, where I explained exactly what happened. But I will repeat it to you.
Thank you.
We were requested, myself and General van Rensburg, of the Secretariat there, and we were requested to act as facilitators between security police and the trading department. We were used to do it because of the interdepartmental composition. We did it many times. I did it personally, and it was referred to us, and I say in my statement, my main statement, I say that myself and General van Rensburg decided that General Gelderland would chair that meeting.
So can I just, in order to assist the court and my learned friend, is it your position that the committee referred to in paragraph 8 is not the same committee that sat under the chairmanship of the deputy minister? So,
I'm sorry, please forgive me. I couldn't hear it. Could you repeat that, please? I'm struggling to hear. Is there an issue? It's what they're giving us. Is it possible to maybe bring the mic closer?
my learned friend wants to know whether the committee that being referred to in paragraph 8, that is the one to which the matter of Goniwe should be referred under the leadership of the Secretariat of the State Security Council. Is that the same committee as the one to which he referred to previously, which met every morning?
No. This is the decision here, or the request was that it was referred to us to facilitate between the two departments, police and the education department.
The police and what department? We didn't get the other one.
Education Department,
Thank you.
And police.
Police and Education and Training.
They had differences, and we were known to facilitate problems between two conflicting departments.
Okay, thank you. So, is it safe to say that by 6 June 1985, Mr. Goniwe's position was being dealt with through the JMC and State Security Council structures?
Is it safe to say that by 6 June 1985, Mr. Goniwe's position was dealt by the GCVS and the Secretariat of the State Security Council?
Yes, I said it in my main statement. They were, it was a facilitating committee trying to bring the two departments together. As I said, that General Geldenhuys reported to me as saying that he was 95% from a solution.
All right. At paragraph 10 of your 1992 affidavit at page 12, at page 12, paragraph 10,
10.
yeah, at that, in paragraph 10, we're discussing the working group under the Secretariat of the State Security Council. And in that paragraph, you say that this working group typically worked from submissions and draft documents rather than formal minutes. Is that correct?
The Goniwe matter was discussed at a working group under the leadership of the Secretariat of the State Security Council. Such working group normally did not keep minutes, but worked with inputs and draft documents.
That is correct.
Thank you. At paragraph 11, you say that the recommendations of that working group were submitted to the chairperson of the Secretariat of the State Security Council for implementation by the relevant department. Is that correct?
My lady, if we ask for the indulgence, we have to look at the whole paragraph to determine what it is that my learned friend is referring to. I'm going to just translate it to Mr. Stemmert, reading that this working group recommendation was submitted to the chairman of the GVS for execution. Execution for obtaining through, most possibly to the interested party. To confirm that the fact that both education and training and South African police officials prepared working documents for the attention of the minister. Copies of these documents are included in the that's it.
Did you get that?
I didn't, my
Just
lady.
repeat that, please, Mrs. Stemmet.
I say I can't remember that at all.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, but I mean, it's in paragraph 11. Is it? Okay.
I can assist my friend, I intend to assist my friend by reading the last paragraph or the last two sentences. See in this regard, Education and Training's document 9/5/1/5, which was prepared or drafted during 1985, and also the South African Police document S4/4368, dated 25 June 1985, entitled Proposed Action Against Matthew Goniwe. Both documents set out possible options from their departmental perspectives. If this may be of assistance to my learned friend, would that be a likely scenario that the various departments would set out their respective sections or positions?
No, it could happen. Could probably happen.
So, I don't think I understood this, but we're also dealing with.
What the witness is saying, my lady, is that it's quite possible that the two departments involved would prepare, would set out their respective positions in documents, as is suggested in the last sentences.
Yes, Ms.
From the respective departmental positions.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So you've already mentioned the documents or memorandum that would be likely prepared or were prepared by the Department of Education and Training and the South African Police, including documents dated June 1985. So you've just confirmed that. So on your own version, this was a process in which more than one department was involved, and in which the Secretariat of the State Security Council facilitated between departments, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. Now, you've already confirmed that you signed the Stratcom guidelines regarding the appointment of Mr. Goniwe as headmaster of Sam Ali High School in June 1985.
If I may just correct my learned friend, this is a conditional objection. I don't recall that it was as headmaster, but I might be wrong.
You don't recall that what?
Being appointed
That it
as
was
headmaster.
as headmaster. Was it?
And then
Mr. Stemmet says he thinks it was. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Thank you. I think the English translation we have translation is principal. I suppose it's synonymous to headmaster, but thank you, Mr. Stemmet. Now, those guidelines state that they were issued in accordance with the Secretariat Working Committee regarding Goniwe's appointment. Is that correct?
that is correct. Do you know what, lady? I can't clearly remember that letter. I saw it this morning, but I really can't remember everything about it.
Thank you. So, again, we've been through this. The guidelines provided that the appointment had to take place according to the Department of Education requirements. And
That will be obvious.
thank you.
Because other departments can't prescribe to them. They are the experts on education.
Thank you. So the guidelines also provided that the normal monitoring of Mr. Goniwe's UDF activities should also continue. Is that correct?
The guidelines also provided that the normal monitoring of Mr. Goniwe's UDF activities should continue.
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you. The guidelines also required that press releases be channeled through the Education Department and that sensational or contradictory statements be avoided. Is that correct? That's in paragraph E.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Especially with the military around, their language, that type of language.
Thank you. The guidelines also provided for covert measures to be considered to control Mr. Goniwe's extramural activities. Is that correct?
Again?
The guidelines also provided for measures to control Mr. Goniwe's extramural activity.
That's correct.
And that each specific announcement be coordinated with the Eastern Province Management Center, because COMCOM activities were being planned against UDF and local affiliated organizations and persons.
Yes, that's what I said.
Thank you. So the guidelines you signed combined both the appointment through education with monitoring, covert measures, media control, and coordination within the Eastern Province JMC. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you. Now, let's go back to paragraph 11 of your 1992 statement. That's at page 90. Are you there, Madeline?
Yes.
Thank you. Are you there, Mr. Stemmet?
Yes, I'm here. We are just looking.
We're just finding the page 90 again.
Yeah.
Sorry. Did you say paragraph 11?
Paragraph 11, that's correct.
At page 90. Page 90 does not have a paragraph 11.
Please bear with me. I may have gotten the incorrect, huh? Here's 1992 affidavit. 1992. Huh? Oh, page 12. Please forgive me, it's page 12. Page 12 of L6. Please forgive me, my lady.
We got it, thank you.
Thank you. So in paragraph 11, you identify certain memoranda that would have been prepared by education and the South African police. And the 18 June 1985 memoranda is identified there. Is that correct?
I'm just checking this.
Paragraph 11.
We're more or less in which line is the 18 June reference?
Pardon?
Sorry, yes. This is the paragraph in respect of which Mr. Semmert has said that he has no recollection of it.
All right, but he can now read it.
I
So,
cannot.
well, you are here to
But
assist.
you want me to translate it to him?
Yes, please, or I can read it.
Oh, you're welcome.
No, please translate it, or otherwise I'll read the
Okay.
condensed
This
English version.
working group, this is now the working group under that has been appointed under Kiewit Sheldon-Davies chairmanship. This working group's recommendation was sent to the chairman of the GVS for passing on, quite possibly, to the interested departments. It is confirmed by the fact that both education and training and the South African police's officials' working documents in connection with the document were prepared for the attention of their ministers. Copies of this document are also included in the paper. See in this connection Education and Training Document 9.1.5, which was prepared during June 1995, and if I believe the document is 4/4360, dated 25 June 1985, entitled Proposed Action Against TV Matthew Benitez. Both documents set out possible options from the departmental perspective.
I can't remember that at all.
All right, thank you. Can we accept that paragraph 11 at least identifies document number 9/1/5, which was compiled in June 1985 by the Education Department? Can we confirm that at least?
Can we confirm that this document that this paragraph confirms that the document 9/1/5 was prepared in June 1985 by the Department of Education and Training.
That's right.
Did you say yes? Okay. All right. Now, this document 9/1/5 is in fact the June 18, 1985 memo. If you turn to it at page, what was it again? 12. No, what was the June 19? That is in fact the same document.
As what?
So the document identified in paragraph 11 of his
Yes.
that affidavit,
Yes.
9/1/5,
Yes.
is in fact the June 18, 1985 memorandum that we find at page 90 of L6. And if we can turn to it, you will see that it bears the same reference number, 9/1/5 at the top right. So can you confirm that that is in fact the document you were referring to, which is a Department of Education memorandum to which you make reference to in your 1992 affidavit?
I said I can't remember this document at all.
Okay. Do you confirm that at the top right there is a reference 9/1/5?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And
All right.
great.
Okay, I would like to this document about which my learned colleague is asking you questions. The heading is reappointment in an education position of Mr. M.T. Goniwe. And the purpose is to inform you about developments concerning the reappointment of Mr. Goniwe, to get approval for his reappointment. And then there's a reference to the fact that the matter was discussed at a meeting chaired by the Deputy Minister, and at the insistence of the Chief Director Control, a special committee under the chairmanship of the Secretariat of the State Security Council was appointed to investigate the matter of reappointment and to make recommendations in this regard. In a letter dated 13 June 1985, of which a copy is in the possession of the Deputy Minister S.J. de Beer, reappointment is recommended.
That is correct.
Okay, so you confirm that you identified this very document at paragraph 11 of your November 1992 statement or affidavit.
Yes.
Thank you. Now, paragraph 2.3 of that particular memorandum, the 18 June 1985, records that from previous discussions with the community leaders and parent representatives, assurance was given that the school situation would be completely normalized if Mr. Goniwe was reappointed to a teaching post. That's at page 90.
The previous leaders had two meetings with parent representatives of 24 May 1985 and 14 June 1985. The assurance was given that the school situation would be completely normalized if Mr. Goniwe be appointed in the teaching position.
Good. That's correct.
What do you say? Yes. Okay.
Witness says that he remembers that, my lady.
Thank you. Then at paragraph 2.4 of the same memo, it records that on 24 May, Mr. Goniwe had indicated that he still wished to return to teaching. Is that correct?
2.4, during a collegial interview with the Chief Director Control and the Deputy Director Community Communication on 24 May 1985, Mr. Goniwe indicated that he was still desirous to return to education.
Yeah, most obviously I got that from the training department.
Did you hear that?
I didn't. I'm sorry. I didn't.
Mr. Stevens said most obviously you got that from the training department.
That paragraph.
Okay, thank you. At paragraph 2.5, it records that the local security at Cradock was kept continuously informed and supported the strategy of reappointment. So this is consistent with the process you described in your affidavit that the JMC and the Secretariat of the State Security Council be involved, correct?
That's correct.
Paragraph 3 of this memorandum identifies the problem as the fact that Mr. Goniwe was a full-time UDF organizer who would devote all his attention to political activities. Is that correct? This is at paragraph 3 of that memorandum.
Goniwe is currently a full-time organizer of the UDF. He can live and is negatively to all these activities. But it's big, and the fact is two-time very organizer, and out all the time to political activity, those areas, therefore telling necessary that energy be rechanneled to activities which won't leave in time to continue with the political activity.
You're nodding your head. Do you confirm that?
Yes.
Thank you. Paragraph 3 further records that it was urgently necessary that Mr. Goniwe's energy be channeled into activities that would prevent him from engaging in political activity. Is that correct? I think you just...
It says exactly the same.
Thank you. Paragraph 4 of the memorandum proposes that Mr. Goniwe's energy be channeled back into teaching and he devote his full attention from 7 till 5 p.m. to teaching. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you. Paragraph 5.3 states that his conduct would be thoroughly monitored every minute of the day by both the Department of Education and the security branch. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. At paragraph 5.4, the memorandum states that all other options with regard to security action do not lapse. Is that correct?
Do not? All other options with regard to security action, let's put it this way, no other options with regard to security options lapse. Andere wat hulle sê is, ander opsies met betrekking tot veiligheidsoptrede bepaal nie. Dit wil staan.
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you. So would you say on the face of this document that reappointment was not treated as excluding other security measures or action?
No?
Exclude.
Well, you say on the face of this document that reappointment was not, did not exclude other security options.
That's correct.
Thank you. Now, is this consistent with the Stratcom guidelines you signed?
Is this consistent with the Stratcom guidelines you signed?
I think so, yes.
Which contemplated the monitoring, covert measures, and media control?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, the comments on that very same memorandum, which is the 18 June one that we were looking at, include a concern that if Mr. Goniwe were reappointed, he might keep a low profile for 12 months and then begin again with his problem, making action against him difficult. Is that correct?
Can you refer us to where we find that comment?
I believe it's handwritten at the bottom, 92. Is it handwritten? It's handwritten on mine. 93, sorry, forgive me, 93, page 93. I believe it's handwritten.
Okay, that handwritten comment says the matter is under consideration by the minister. On Friday, 28 June 1985, discussed with Deputy Minister. Not any outcome. No, so I can only, it's not any outcome.
Please forgive me, I've referred you to the wrong paragraph. It's the one before the handwritten comment. So it is on page
3
92.
under Geheim.
Yes,
All right, that's page 892.
Okay,
92.
what about that?
That comment says it includes a concern. So that comment includes a concern that if Mr. Goniwe were reappointed, he might keep a low profile for about 12 months and then begin again with his problem, making action against him difficult. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Oh, wait.
Thank
Wait,
you.
but wait, but we haven't seen that. What page are we on? 92.
92.
Is this the oh, it says nie aanbeveel nie kommentaar, is that it?
Yes. That's the
Okay.
comment, yeah.
If Mr. Goniwe is reappointed, we must be prepared to consider many other with leftist political leanings consider their reappointment favorably, and then in the event of them making application. I appreciate the current thinking, especially with a view to normalizing the situation. If it's the only outcome, I would want to recommend that he does not be put on experimental basis, but in a temporary capacity. He can maintain a low profile for 12 months and wait until his appointment is confirmed, and then start with the problem again, which will complicate tremendously action against him.
That is obvious in police.
The witness says that's obviously a police input.
Okay, but does he confirm that that's what that comment says?
I can confirm that that's what it said. It's written here.
Thank you. Thank you.
We had estimated
I know,
40
my lady.
minutes for your
I have
questioning. It's now 1:05. Are you
I
still
have
going to be
10
on?
more questions left.
You have,
10 more questions, about 10 more questions left.
okay, shall we take the lunch adjournment
Sure.
now? Will it be okay if we resume at 2 o'clock rather than 2:15?
Thank you.
Please, let's adjourn and resume at 2 o'clock.
Thank
Yes, we can hear you. Hello.
Okay, Mr. Stemmet, you're reminded you're still under oath.
Yes, I am.
Thank you.
My lady, may I, before my learned friend continues, just express a concern that at the tempo that we are progressing at, we might not finish. And then we will have to reconvene for purposes of hearing the rest of Mr. Stemmet's evidence at a future date, which I would prefer that he be spared. And may I attempt a contribution, and this is to say that everything that is written and part of the record, there is no dispute that what is written there is written there. And that in my respectful submission, there's no purpose to refer the witness to a paragraph asking you to read what the paragraph says. I would like to ask that we progress at a significantly faster pace and have
Can you repeat the last part of your address?
I would suggest, my lady, that it's a waste of time to ask Mr. Stemmet whether a particular paragraph says what in fact it obviously says, and it's there for everyone to read. But by avoiding that, we could save significant time.
Okay, I'm sure Ms. Butelis has noted that. Yes, Ms. Butelis.
Thank you, my lady.
Thank you, my lady. So now we're going to turn to the signal, and you deal with it from paragraph 6 of your affidavit. And I'm just going to summarize what paragraph 6.1, 6.2, and 6.3 say before I put to you and ask you 2 more questions. Effectively, your evidence before this inquest is that the signal dated 7 June reached the Secretariat of the State Security on the 8th of June, and that it was never tabled for formal consideration in any official SSRC structure or committee of which you were aware of. So the first question is, on your version, there was a formal reappointment process on the one hand, and then there was the separate signal process on the other hand, correct?
Is it your version that there was a reappointment process on the one hand and the signal process on the other? What do you think? Is it your version that there was a signal version on the one hand and the formal reappointment version?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Your evidence also says at 6.4 that if the signal led to assassinations, it did so through a parallel line function involving the security police and bypassing the Secretariat of the State Security Council. So the question is your position is not that the signal was irrelevant, but that it fell outside the formal process you describe in your affidavit. Is that correct?
Correct that you're saying that the signal was not irrelevant, but it was called outside the formal process.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So I would like to put it to you, Mr. Stemmet, that on your own version, there were parallel processes operating in relation to Mr. Goniwe in June 1985. The one process was the formal reappointment process. The other was the separate 7 June signal. If you have any comment.
There were two processes. Do you agree or have a comment on the statement that there were?
No, there were two. There were two processes going on. I've said so to the previous question already.
Thank you. I also put to you that the Stratcom guidelines that you signed and the 18 June 1985 memorandum show that the formal reappointment process did not exclude other measures, but operated alongside monitoring, covert measures, and security options.
The memorandum does not exclude other measures other than the ones proposed in.
That is correct.
And lastly, I'd like to put it to you, Mr. Stemmet, that your attempt to confine the signal to an informal rogue line does not remove it from the broader state security context.
The dismissal of the signal does not remove it from the broader state security context.
No.
Your comment is no.
That is
No.
You confirm that it does not exclude it.
He wants to know whether the fact that you disregarded the signal does not mean that it's excluded from the broader state security.
Yes. No, that's right.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Stemmet, my lady. No further questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Vani?
I have with respect, my lady, before my learned friend continues, I have one or two questions by way of redirection. It will assist me, and I assume also my learned friend who is about to ask certain questions of Mr. Stemmet, if I just be allowed to deal with those quickly.
Would there be any objection to examination of the witness taking place now? All right. Yes, you can then continue, Mr. Hiernes.
My appreciation to you and my colleague, Mr. Howard. May I refer Mr. Stemmet to page 93 of the record. That is the recommendations of the committee that has been appointed by the sorry, not page 93, page 92. Mr. Stemmet, this is
No, we can't hear you.
okay.
Just try again.
I'm referring to the memorandum
Yes.
to which my learned friend has referred, Mr. Stemmet, which sets out the recommendations of the committee which had been appointed at Mr. Stemmet's, as a consequence of Mr. Stemmet's initiative.
Yes.
And he was referred on page 3 of the document, page 92 of the record, to the paragraph which says, "Nie aanbeveel kommentaar." I would like to just refer him to what follows. The next item is aanbeveel, nie aanbeveel, die kommentaar. Recommend, not recommended, comment. This reads, if there were to be a decision to appoint Mr. Goniwe, the first chief director is of the opinion that it has to be in a temporary capacity and, if possible, also not as acting principal. Then follows the chief director's recommendation recommendation that Mr. Guliwe must be appointed in a temporary capacity as the acting principal of the school, commencing on the date that's to be determined by the chief director, taking into account local circumstances. Mr. Stemmert, this recommendation, would that be in line with what Mr. Jaap wanted and what you supported?
That is perfectly in line. The Jaap attitude was that the appointment should be permanent, as I said this morning, because of pension and medical purpose. And he was also convinced that the leader would not take a temporary.
In the next this is followed right at the end by the Anderson comment. The matter under consideration by the ministry, not the minister. Which ministry would that be?
That would be education.
It's a plural ministry. What other ministry would?
Most probably police.
Then on Friday, 28th June 1985, discussed with the Deputy Minister. Which Deputy Minister would that be?
That will be Sam Bear.
He was the Deputy Minister of
Education. That education. Education and training.
Then there is following sentence, wat geen uitsluitsel op daardie security. This means that there is no finality. Then, on Saturday, 29/6/85, the report was received about a burnt-out vehicle, a motor vehicle. On 3 July 1985, a report was received of the death of the Niwe and Kalata. Is this in line with what you say in your affidavit, that following the recommendations regarding the reappointment of Mr. Niwe, and before finality was reached in that regard, they were killed?
Yes. Before finality, we at the Secretariat were in favor of the area. But before it could happen and before we could convince the police to allow him certain conditions of court, we unfortunately received that treatment.
Thank you, my lady. I'm indebted to you as I am to my colleague.
Thank you,
Mr. Varney.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Varney.
As the court pleases. Mr. Stemmert, I just want to make sure that you can hear me loudly and clearly.
I'm trying hard to hear you.
Thank you. Firstly, we're grateful to you for availing yourself to assist this court, notwithstanding your advanced age.
Thank you.
I just want to clear up a few matters in relation to your position at the Secretariat of the State Security Council. You mentioned in your statement that in June of '85, you were the head of Stratcom. Can I ask?
That is correct.
Can I ask,
Yes.
prior to June '85, what position did you hold at the Secretariat?
Well, I held many positions. I arrived there in August 1980 as second in command, but I got a lot of instructions about the reorganization, the whole system, bringing in new committees, etc., etc. So I was relieved of my duties, and General van Rensburg came in my place. And whilst I was busy with reorganization, Mr. Botha, President, instructed us to create some strategic communication. And I was there, and I sent people overseas to study, to trained a lot of people, and I don't know how long after 1985 I was relieved of my duties here, and I was again moved to another position that is the call it, I was actually then put back in the position where I started. Chief coordinator then, where I saw to the welfare of all the branches of the Secretariat, and somebody else took over. General Jan Erasmus took over
Thank you.
branch.
Thank you.
So I had many positions there.
Yes, yes, indeed. If we can just focus on Stratcom for a moment, and I want to draw your attention to some findings that were made against Stratcom by the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. And these are in Bundle L6, items 9 and 10, from page 362. I don't intend to read all the passages to you, but let me put perhaps 3 short paragraphs to you, and I'd like your response, please. Now, the essential criticism that the TRC levels against Stratcom is that it was an entity responsible for putting out disinformation and cover stories and the like. So, for example, at page 363 of Bundle L6, under the heading Stratcom Fomentation, I'm just going to read paragraphs 583 and 584 to you. At a special meeting in Port Elizabeth on 8 May 1985, Major General Dirk Gennis from SAP HQ in Pretoria stated that the conflict between the UDF and AZAPA should be exploited as soon as possible. Comcom's, that Communications Committee, is busy with planning in this regard. And the next paragraph, 584, a telex directive from the Stratcom branch of the SSC suggested a number of themes for use in actions such as covert pamphlets. The directive was sent out by the Secretariat of the SSC to all regional JMCs on 20 December 1985. The themes / suggestions sought to enhance the differences between the UDF and AZAPA. Were you aware of that Stratcom operation which appears to sow division between the UDF and AZAPA?
I can't remember all the action taken, but if it concerns communication, then I plead guilty. Then it could have been strategic communication. If it is about execution of things, then I say no. Then that Stratcom you are referring to is a totally different organization.
And Mr. Stemmert, were you aware that the security branch came up with a cover story for the Cradock 4 murders, namely that this was the result of conflict between AZAPA and the UDF? This was said by the second in command of the security branch in his amnesty application for these murders, Mr. Nicolaas Janse van Rensburg.
I can't remember.
Milady, there might be a transmission issue at this stage.
Can you repeat your answer? Hopefully we'll hear what you're saying.
Witness said that he can't remember that.
Okay, thank you. And then let me put the next passage to you. And this is in the same L6 bundle at page 365. And here the Truth Commission is reporting on what Minister Flock said in his amnesty application, and I'm going to read paragraph 516 to you.
Can you just read it for me?
Yes, I'm going to read it. A further area of illegality concerned various Stratcom projects and operations, again carried out with the knowledge of both senior security force personnel and politicians. Former Minister Flock himself conceded in his evidence to the Commission, and they quote Minister Flock saying, "It cannot be denied that certain Stratcom conduct or the consequences thereof in certain circumstances could have been interpreted as unlawful or illegal. In this way, I could have been part in an unconscious way of the taking of decisions which led to illegal conduct. I'd like to say that I included that under Stratcom conduct and operations which could have led to illegal actions, it was illegal and unlawful." Your response?
So I must explain here. We are talking about two different organizations. I built up a strategic communication, and we were concerned communication. That is why I had people with master's degrees, etc., in communication, political science, etc., etc. We communicated. That was our Transcom. Then the Stratcom, I noticed in your documents I received last night, that is not Stratcom at all, because that includes executive action. And my branch could never act executive. So the strategic communication you are referring is not strategic communication. And if I may say so, Mr. Flock did not understand or he did not even understand strategy. But if you want to see really what happened with your strategic communication, you should go to the evidence at the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Mr. McPherson. I don't know whether you've seen that. Go there and then you'll see that his Stratcom and my Stratcom are two totally different organizations.
Thank you, Mr. Stemmet. We won't have time to dive into that evidence, but we will certainly take a look at it. Can I ask you, what was the typical procedure for processing incoming signals to the Secretariat of the State Security Council? And here I want to refer you to your statement, paragraph 3.2.
Which statement is that?
It's your statement. Yeah. And just to help you, I'm going to read it.
Unfortunately, I can't read.
I'm going to read it to you. I cannot read it.
Well, okay, thank you very much.
It reads, top secret signals were transmitted via military channels to Army headquarters and couriered to our officers. Upon receipt, every classified document was required to be processed by the Registry Division, logged and assigned a sequential reference number. Can I ask, Mr. Stemmet, is that why at paragraph 6.1 you indicate that you only received the 7 June 1985 signal on the 8th of June, a day later?
No, at first we used the military channels, but I think that was in 1982. We changed to national intelligences. So we worked on their channel. So in 1985, it was on the national intelligence channel already. and not military anymore.
So would there be any reason why that signal was only received on the 8th of June and not the 7th of June?
I don't know what the reason is, because we were in different buildings quite far from each other.
Okay, thank
And
you.
why they didn't transmit it to us, I don't know. I really don't know.
Okay. While we were on your statement, can I refer you to paragraph 2.4? And I'm going to read to you the first sentence. The SSRC functioned as a clearinghouse for interdepartmental conflicts. It lacked the machinery, mandate, and equipment to carry out physical operations such as arrests or eliminations. Mr. Temmet, are we to understand that your department simply dealt with a strategy, but that operations such as arrests and eliminations were carried out by other departments?
What happened was that if there's a dispute between two departments, we could facilitate a solution by getting the parties together and get them to talk to each other and work out a solution. If I may, can I give you a good example?
Please do.
When Mr. Mugabe took over in Rhodesia, the borders were closed. They called it knypacties. That meant that nothing went through, not his fuel, his seed, everything was stopped. And on their side, they kept a lot of things. So they had the position, the military wanted some military stuff that they left the old Rhodesia, and Mugabe refused. The railways wanted the locomotives and trains, okay, and so on. And the police wanted people to be handed to them, criminals, and they refused. On the other hand, the farmers wanted to cooperate with their colleagues across the border. Foreign Affairs wanted to cross the border. Economy people, they said that economy does not have any boundaries. So
I don't want to interrupt you. It's just that we do have limited time, but thank you for that example.
Yeah.
It does illustrate the.
Okay, I just I was instructed to facilitate, and I had two groups against each other. We got them together, we discussed it, and we found a solution for everything, all of them, and where they differed, we made a small note. The general feeling is A, but the fence still says this, and police.
Mr. Stemmet, I'm very sorry to interrupt you, but thanks for that example. It's a good example of the dispute resolution role that the Secretariat played. But what I want to put to you, arising from this paragraph 2.4, is that it's a concession that the state did carry out eliminations.
What has been put to you is that this is a confession, this paragraph, which says that you will function as a clearinghouse for interdepartmental conflicts. And it's a confession that the state carried out elimination.
No, never, ever. We just brought the people together. As I've just said, two different groups of departments opposing each other. We get them together, discuss it, and decide what is in the interest of South Africa, and come to a conclusion, get all the departments to cooperate. That is the idea of facilitate, not anything else.
I think you're describing the clearinghouse for interdepartmental conflicts. I'm focusing on the second line. It lacked the machinery, mandate and equipment to carry out physical operations such as arrests or eliminations. So your department was not carrying out arrests or eliminations. There were other executive departments dealing with that.
No. We were only 7 staff members, and we could work out strategic plans and so on, but we never acted. We could never execute anything.
The question
In fact,
is
with
whether,
the my lady, I must point out
yes.
the fact that this matter is concerned with physical operations which involved killings. This does not say or imply that was ever considered or approved at this particular level.
I don't think that's the question. The question is whether is this a concession that other functionaries, another functionary, different functionary from his, would carry out arrests and eliminations.
No, that never happened.
Yes, Mr. Van.
Well, Mr. Stemmert, I must in fairness put it to you that we will be submitting to this court that is precisely what happened.
With respect, my lady, what this says is that we couldn't do it. A, we didn't do it, and B, we couldn't have done it. That's what it says.
And to add to that, we had no executive powers whatsoever, and we could only get the partners like, as I've said about Rhodesia or Zimbabwe, to get people together to make a plan that things can proceed. But
yes, I think that much is understood, but what is being put to you is that whilst you, from your perspective, didn't have the machinery, the mandate, and the equipment to carry out arrests and eliminations, some other functionary was doing that. Would do that, yes.
It only if it concerns communication. That was what we worked on.
Okay,
Only communication, not executive anything.
Thank you. Maybe you should move on, Mr.
Yes,
Van.
I'm going to move on, my lady. Just a word of caution, and we appreciate the assistance that Mr. Hunis is providing, but I think Mr. Hunis has to be careful that he doesn't cross the line of giving evidence himself. But let me move on.
I was objecting to what my learned friend presented as a necessary inference, my lady. That was a legitimate objection. I wasn't giving evidence.
Thank you.
Let's move on. Now, in paragraph 2.6, you say that during June of 1985, you were the head of the Strategic Communication Branch, and that you were also in cooperation with the Commission for Administration, responsible for training and state security matters of government employees. So within the Secretariat, you were involved, as I understand it, in those two specific branches.
Yeah, it was the same branch, but the training division fell under me. And according to law, the Civil Service Commission is responsible for the training of government officials. So we could give lectures about strategic communication, about methods, because I had 7 people there, experts, each one of them could give lectures about communication. So we worked together. We were not allowed to have courses on our own amongst government officials. But we worked through the training section of the Commission for Administration.
Let's move on in your statement, if I can take you to your paragraph 4.2. And you make reference to a meeting that you attended together with General van Rensburg of the Secretariat and Mr. Jaap Strydom from the Department of Education. And in that paragraph, when you're dealing with the reappointment of teachers such as Ganiwe and Kalata, you mentioned that the security police objected and that Strydom was of the opinion that the security police would never agree to their reappointment in Cradock.
That's right.
Am I not right in saying that there were also objections to the reappointment from the side of the military?
Of the ministry.
Military.
No. I don't know. I never spoke to the military about it.
Okay.
I never had their opinion about the matter.
I just want to draw your attention to another signal. This is not the 7 June signal. This is a signal dated the 23rd of May, 1985. And it's in the cross-examination bundle at item 16, page 460, and there's an English translation at 461.
A moment, please. We're going there.
Yes, it's at item 16 of the bundle at page 460. There's a copy of the signal in Afrikaans. And then at 461, there's an English translation. Do you have it?
Will you be referring us to the English translation?
I think it would be most convenient to refer to the English translation. And if there's a mistake, please point it out. So this is a signal from OPGBS, so that's Eastern Province JMC. It's dated 23 May 1985, and the heading is personally from Brigadier van der Westhuizen to Lieutenant General van Deventer or Major General van Rensburg. Mr. Stemmet, you will recall that Brigadier van der Westhuizen was the officer commanding of EP Command, so he was an SADF officer.
And he died last week.
Sorry,
The answer was yes, and he died last week.
Oh, okay. Sorry to hear that. Yes.
To the best of our knowledge, he hasn't died, but there was another general who died, and that was Gerrit Erasmus, who was a former police general.
From Johannesburg.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. And we've checked with his legal representative. As far as he's aware, his client is still alive.
You probably don't no longer have a brief.
Okay.
In any event, as you can see from the face of the signal, it was to deal with the situation at black schools in the Eastern Cape region. And if I can draw your attention to paragraph 3, the meeting unanimously decided that the following recommendations with regard to above-mentioned matters should urgently be brought to the attention of the Secretariat at the State Security Council and also for execution by the affected ministers before 25 May 85. I'm only going to focus on the first recommendation at A, that Ganiwe and Kalata should under no circumstances ever be appointed in any post in the Department of Education and Training. So
That is obviously an input by the police.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
That's an input by the police.
That is obviously an input by the police.
Well, in fact, the signal is from Brigadier van der Westhuizen, who wasn't a police officer. He was a military officer in charge of Eastern Province Command.
Yeah, but he was also in charge of the Joint Management Center.
Yes, he was the head of the Joint Management Center.
Yeah, where all the regional heads are gathered.
And while we're dealing with this particular meeting, let's take a look at some of the people who were present at that JMC meeting at Eastern Cape Province Command on 23 May 1985. The lady that's in the same bundle at page 398. And there is a list, in the minutes of the meeting, there's a list of people who were present. It's a very long list, so we won't go through everybody, but perhaps we can just look at the first few names.
Did you say 398?
Page 398 of L6. My team will just confirm that.
Yes, thank you, I've got that.
So those present included Brigadier van der Westhuizen from the SADF.
A moment, we're not there yet.
Okay, we'll wait.
Neither am I, incidentally. Is it 399?
398, there's
I beg your
398.
pardon, I'm told it's 383. I'm told the Afrikaans version is at 383, and I believe the English version is at 398. Okay, so
We don't have the names yet. Where's the... Gaan we die op? Ja, sit hulle nou hierdie. Deel van die vergadering. Okay, we've got the list of the names of the people who were present. Thank you.
okay, so just to give Mr. Stemmet a sense of who was present at that meeting, it was Brigadier van der Westhuizen as chairman from the SADF. It was Brigadier Rousseau from the SAPV, when I assume the V means Veiligheidstag, security branch.
No.
Brigadier Schnettler, also of the South African Police. Colonel Botha of SASP. I have to say I'm not 100% sure what SASP stands for. Colonel Lamont of the SADF. Captain Woolley of the SADF. Lieutenant Colonel Snyman of the SAP. Commandant L. Du Plessis of the SADF. And I'm assuming that's Colonel Lawrence Du Plessis, who assisted with the 7 June signal. And just for the record, Mr. Galvin of National Intelligence Service was also present. So I want to put it to you, Mr. Stemmet, that those who, according to the 23 May signal...
Yes, Mr. Vani.
Yeah.
Where do you get that there was a unanimity?
Well, that's in paragraph 3. My English translation says the meeting unanimously decided. The Afrikaans is die vergadering het eenparig besluit.
Yeah, paragraph 3 says the minutes. Which document are you referring to? Because the paragraph 3 of the minutes says the minutes of the previous meeting are being approved.
To the signal at page 460 of the bundle. I preface my question by making reference to the signal at page 460, with the translation at 461.
It's the brigadier to the generals. Is that the one that says it was a unanimous decision?
Paragraph 3 of the signal says die vergadering het eenparig besluit dat die volgende aanbevelings wie bogemelde aangeleerdhede dringend onder die aandag van die SSWR gebring moet word en ook vir die deurvoering aan die betrokke ministers voor 25 Mei. So we're dealing with,
Yes,
with the signal here.
Yeah, no, we understand now, but we have to know that in this document it refers to the meeting of which we have, where subsequently referred to the minutes that it says it was unanimous. But there's nothing turns on it. We're with you. You can carry on.
With respect, Milady, I have put the question to the witness. I'm referring to the signal.
Yes, I think what Mr. Hughes is saying is that they now understand. They
He now
follow
understands.
that.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So
Correct. Thank you, Milady.
now that we're all on the same page, the signal says the meeting unanimously decided the following recommendations, and A being that Ganiwa and Kalata should under no circumstances ever be appointed in any post in the Department of Education and Training. Now, I've put to you that there were a mix of people at that meeting, including both SADF and SAP individuals. So that recommendation, which appears on the face of that signal, was coming from both the SADF and SAP representatives at the JMC meeting. Do you concede that?
I did not receive all the minutes of all 9 JMCs. I simply did not have the time to read all of them. And this one I've never read.
Yes. I'm simply
But must have been perhaps one of my staff members. I had 7 staff members, and this one would have gone to the section under General van Rensburg or Geldenhuis, who was in charge of JMCs.
Yes, but
I never saw it.
Sorry, but
I
be that
never
as it may. Sorry, Mr. Stemmen, but be that as it may, this is what is reflected on this document, on this signal.
Yes.
You confirm that.
Yes, I've never seen that.
Yes. It's just, I had to put that to you, Mr. Stemmet, because you had said that proposal had come from the police, and I was just putting it to you that in fact it came from more than just the police, it came from others as well.
So I can see in the language that that's obviously political language.
It's the police.
We'll move on.
Sorry, maybe our learned friend would assist the witness if he were to say exactly what did Mr. Stemmer say in this regard.
I just did precisely that, Mr. Hughes. I said I had to put the signal to him because he said that proposal only came from the police. And I believe he's now conceded that it came from more than just the police.
Well, I say, if I look at the language, I can see from whom it came. I say it was obviously from the police. That is what I said. But what is contained and what the minutes contained, I don't know. I did not receive all the minutes, and I never had the time to read all the documents emanating from the JMCs.
Let's turn to paragraph 4.5 of your statement. And let me read the relevant passage to you. The file contained the signal regarding their permanent removal from society was also marked out to me. The reason for this being that the training division fell under my authority. Officials of the South African Defence Force were notorious for their forceful and sometimes crude language. Words such as remove, eliminate, destroy, etc. were frequently used. I instructed that this be addressed in all training courses. So is it your evidence, Mr. Stemmet, that the only reason why that signal came across your address, your desk rather, was for purposes of training?
That was the only reason, because the other 2 generals and their divisions, they handled the matter. I only had the interest because I gave strict instructions that this type of language for years and years, because I simply hate this type of language. And I instructed them not to use words like that. And the reason is that I told them that one day in future it will give us problems like it is now.
So
That is the only reason. That is the only reason why it was marked to me. Otherwise, I had nothing to do with it.
So, Mr. Stemmet, when you see words in documents such as eliminate and destroy, for most readers, that would mean, if you're talking about individuals, when you read words such as eliminate and destroy, that means kill. Would you agree?
When you see words like eliminate and destroy being used with reference to people, that means kill. Would you agree?
No, not. That's exactly the point I made. Don't use words like that because it could be interpreted as killing people. We were working with communication, not killing people.
So if eliminate does not mean kill, what does it mean when you see them in official documents?
No, I don't know what he meant. But as I say that, words like that, uithaal, verwyder, elimineer, dramatic words, typical military language which is not suitable when you work with civilians, military civilians. And I was very strict about it, and everybody, all the branches knew that if something like that come across their desk, they must refer it to me because I will get hold of I will give it to the training people to stop this type of language.
Well, Mr. Stemmet, I must put it to you. I'm not disputing that you encourage your colleagues not to use such language, but I'm putting it to you that on the probabilities, you are not being truthful when you submit to this court that eliminate and destroy, uithaal, does not mean kill.
You're not being on the probabilities. You are not being truthful when you say that words like eliminate and destroy does not mean kill.
No. I'm honest about it. I did not like that type of word because it could be and interpreted as kill, etc., etc. That is why I wanted it to be eliminated from our documents.
Well, I must advise you, Mr. Stemmet, that we will be submitting to this court when we make our submissions, that on this score, on those words, you are not being truthful. But we can move on.
Can we perhaps try and clear this up? I know this is unusual methodology, but we're also not in prosecuting anyone. This is an inquest, and my sense of the matter is that what the witness is saying, and he can correct me if I'm wrong, and you can take issue with me if you want, is that he didn't like these words being used, these words of which the military were fond, being used because they can create precisely what you're suggesting to him, and that is that normally they would mean what you say they mean.
Yes, I think
the lady,
we all
Mr. Hughes, is
heard
giving
him say
evidence
that.
again.
No, yes, I think we all heard him say that, Mr. Hughes. Yes, Mr. Van, carry on.
Let's move to paragraph 5 of your statement, Mr. Stemmet, titled The Ganiwa Matter and the Geldenhuis Task Group. And just to remind you, I'm going to read to you your paragraphs 5.1 and 5.2 before I put my question. In June 1985, my involvement with the Matthew Ganiwa matter was limited to administrative efforts regarding his potential reappointment as a teacher to stabilize local schools. And at 5.2, on 13 June 1985, I signed Stratcom guidelines intended to manage public perception. These were formal administrative directives and were entirely disconnected from operational security acts. So my question to you, Mr. Stemmet, is your role was confined to administrative efforts. You were not involved on the operational security side, which was a separate track. And am I right in saying that you did not know what was going on in relation to security operations with respect to Mr. Ganiwe?
No, definitely not.
You
I agree. I agree with you. I never even thought about killing. As a matter of fact, myself and my colleagues were in favor of the reappointment of those gentlemen.
Yes. And on that score, if we can turn to paragraph 6.2, where you're now dealing with the June 7th signal, as you describe it in quotes, the death signal. And at 6.2, you state, I wish to state categorically that this signal was not integrated into the formal Geldenhuys task group proceedings. It was never tabled for formal consideration or discussion in any official SSRC structure or committee meeting of which I was aware. Now, it's your evidence that you were confined to administrative efforts, but am I right in saying that there were other branches of the Secretariat that dealt with security matters? So, for example, and correct me if I'm wrong, there were at least 4 branches of the State Security Council. There was the Strategy Branch, the National Intelligence Interpretation Branch, Stratcom, where you were based, and then lastly, the Administrative Branch. And then there were other committees, for example, the Coordinating Intelligence Committee called KIK, and the Counter-Revolutionary Intelligence Task Team, sometimes called TREVIT. So we were talking about quite a substantial organization, were we not?
There were other, but that signal went to General van Rensburg. And he marked it out to me because of my hatred of that type of language. The 2 of us decided to appoint General Geldenhuys, but we gave him no documents. I think we thought it was very important that the 2 parties should come there and they could give written representations to them, but usually they came there without any notes and so on. And in this case, it would have been the security police and education and training. And I did not give them the signal, and I'm quite sure that General van Rensburg did not give it to them. They did not have, Geldenhuys did not have it. He wanted to facilitate between the 2. He did not need the signal.
Well, I want to put it to you, Mr. Stemmet, that given your particular role in the Secretariat, being administrative efforts within Stratcom and the administrative branch, that you would not know how other sections, for example, the strategy branch and the various intelligence structures, might have dealt with that signal. You simply wouldn't know.
No. Why would they?
No. What is being asked of you or put to you is that you would not know how the other branches other than your own, of which there were a couple which Marlene had identified, would have dealt with the signal. That's what it was.
No, I don't know how they would have dealt with the signal, but only Van Rensburg had it and he marked it through to me. And so I knew what was in it. But Van Rensburg already had the signal when Jaap Strydom put his case at the joint committee, intelligence committee.
Yes, but the fact remains, and I'm indebted to Mr. De Hunis for clarifying it for you, but the fact remains, you simply don't know whether the signal went to these other branches or not.
No, I don't know. I don't know, but I don't think it went to other branches, because the other branches had nothing to do with things like this.
But how can you say that the other branches would have nothing to do with this issue, such as the...
Okay, tell them, okay, which branches do you suggest?
Well, for example, as I mentioned, it wasn't just Stratcom and the admin branch. There was the strategy branch, the National Intelligence Interpretation branch, the Coordination of Intelligence Committee, the Counter-Revolutionary Intelligence Task Team. You simply wouldn't know because you were only involved in administrative efforts.
The administrative branch would obviously wouldn't have no interest. The branch National Interpretation, they work with the daily intelligence coming in. They would have nothing to do with what was the other one? Cook, no, Cook was not part of the system, so they never got it. So there was no other branch interested in matters like this.
Now, have you heard of a branch by the name of Trevets? In Afrikaans, Teen Revolutionaire Inlichting Taakspan.
Counter-revolutionary task team. Het jy gehoor van hom? Weet jy van hom?
From wie?
Counter-revolutionary task team.
No, I don't know about it. It's not one of our teams.
No, I'm not suggesting it was one of your teams, and I've tried to make that as clear as possible. But it does seem that it was part of the wider State Security Council. It was one of the structures.
No, it was never part of the security system. What we had at Cradock was a sub JMC. You had for the region in Port Elizabeth, you had the JMC, then you have the sub JMC, that is for the bigger towns and surrounding towns, and then you get the mini.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I think ourselves in the court are very familiar with the National Security Management System. But I simply want to put it to you that there is an allegation before this court that Trevets was was a structure of the State Security Council. It was known as Section J, and it was formed in 1985 to identify targets for action and elimination.
Trevet was never part of the security management system. Okay. What was Trevet? I don't know.
All right, let's move on. Now, at paragraph 6.4, you have said the following: the existence of this signal outside the formal Geldenhuys task group suggests that it led to the assassination, suggests that if it led to the assassinations, it did so through a parallel informal line function involving the security police bypassing the state security, the Secretariat of the SSC administrative oversight entirely.
Weet jy wat sê hulle? This says, this is me speaking, the existence of this signal outside the formal Geldenhuys task group, that's the one that suggests that if it led to the assassinations, if the signal led to the assassinations, it did so through a parallel, informal and unquote, line function, unquote, involving the security police bypassing Secretariat of the State.
But I think this is obviously what happened. Bypassed because we were still working on the reappointment of the people. and they were killed. And that is why I say in my statement that we were very, very unhappy that it happened.
What I want to put to you is that the operation to murder the Cradock Four was not under administrative oversight by the Secretariat. It was rather under security operation oversight, of which you were not privy to.
I agree with you. It was never part of the system. Those people, and I still say they must be prosecuted. The people who killed them, they did not work in the system, because killing was never part of the system.
That is where we disagree, Mr. Stemmet, because I'm putting it to you that the decision to murder the Cradock Four was part of the system. It was under oversight, but just not administrative oversight. It was under security oversight.
But it was not in the security, it was not part of the security management system, because the security management system cannot be executive, carry out executive duties. That was simply a police matter, a police murder, and I still say they should be charged.
All right, let's move on and let's deal with the Galvin affidavit, which is from paragraph 7 onwards. And you say in your statement, sorry, I'm just trying to find my English translation of the Galvin statement. All right, so you rely heavily on the Galvin statement. Can I just check? You mentioned that Mr. Galvin passed away around September of last year, and you mentioned that you got the statement shortly before he passed away. Are we talking a few weeks before he passed away, a few months? Do you have a recollection?
Yeah, it was a few months before he died.
All right, so it would have been during the course of 2025, in the months leading up to September.
Yes. Yes.
Now let's take a look at Mr. Galvin's statement, and he in turn relies on a meeting of the Eastern Province JMC that was held around June of 1985 to discuss the security situation. That's at paragraph 8 of Mr. Galvin's statement. Now, we have looked for a record of that particular meeting, and we have not been able to find a record of a JMC meeting taking place around June of 1985.
I've not been able to find a record of a meeting around June of 1985. This though the Galvin said at a meeting around June 1985. It's been put to you that my colleague and those who assist him could not find a record of such a meeting. But there's no question yet. That's just what he's saying.
No, yeah, I thought that there was a meeting before the signal came. Though I'm not sure. I did not read the minutes.
Well, let me take you through those meetings, but just bear in mind that given that Mr. Galvin is saying that the signal of 7 June 1985 had its genesis in this previous meeting at which the regional head of education and training, a certain doctor who you can't remember his surname, introduced this discussion. That's at paragraph 10. and at the end submitted the proposal that the two teachers must be permanently removed from society. And it was on that proposal that Mr. Galvin alleges that Brigadier Joffel van der Westhuizen was relying on in the signal that he authorized on the 7th of June 1985. So with that context...
Sorry, with respect, my learned friend, we are confused because what Mr. Galvin says is that that meeting, it was proposed that the removal means that they must be removed from wherever and placed at a distant place, like Winnie Mandela was placed at Bradford.
Yes, Mr. Vani.
Yes, all right. Well, let's. I was paraphrasing the translation of Mr. Galvin's statement, but let's just read it into the record. At paragraph 9, two names in particular were highlighted, namely Kalata and Ganiwe. Paragraph 10, the regional head of education and training, a doctor, in brackets, I unfortunately cannot remember his surname, introduced the discussion and at the end submitted the proposal that the two teachers must be permanently removed from society. Paragraph 11, to a question by the chairperson, Brigadier Joffel van der Westhuizen, as to what is meant by permanently removal from the community, although I understand that should be changed to society, he answered, just as Winnie Mandela was permanently removed from Soweto at the time and moved to Brandfort in the Free State. So we then searched for a JMC meeting at which that took place. And I'd like to take you to the meetings that we did find around June of 1985. And in fact, we went back to March of 1985. Let's start with the JMC meeting of 28 March 1985. That's in the bundle L6, the current bundle, at page 376. I believe that would be the English translation. We'll get you the original page number.
Already, my learned friend is going to suggest to the witness, and I'm trying to assist him, that they couldn't find minutes which reflect what Mr. Galvin says, then we accept that.
All right, well, I'm indebted to Mr. Hunis, but just to assist the court, since this is an inquiry, the meetings that we do have on record include the JMC meetings of 28 March 1985. We could find no reference to that kind of information being discussed. We should point out that at item 7 in that meeting, in the minutes, the school situation was discussed, but that the teachers were refusing to accept the new posts, apparently under the influence of Matthew Ganiwe. And then the next meeting of the JMC on 23 May 1985, we've already made reference to this meeting. The English translation is in the same bundle at 398. The closest we could get to was item 7 again, school situation, paragraph 16, page 409. Certain classes have been cancelled at Lingashlile in Cradock. It is still being insisted that Ganiwe and Kalata be reinstated. Now, Mr. Galvin did attend those meetings. We looked at all the June meetings that might have been relevant, and these included the JOC meeting of 7 June 1985, held in Port Elizabeth, the 18 June 1985 JMC meeting minute, which has been referred to extensively, at page 38, and then lastly the 19 June 1985 JOC meeting minute at page 49. Those facts are also not reflected there, but importantly, Mr. Galvin did not attend those 3 June meetings. At least his name does not appear in the list of attendees. So that's the problem we have, Mr. Stemmet. The only information in which it is alleged that the regional head of education and training submitted the proposal that the two teachers be permanently removed from society. The only place where it appears is in this 2020 statement of Mr. Galvin. That's the problem we have.
Would you have any comment there too?
The only place that Galvin says appears is in the statement. I couldn't find that. I couldn't find any minutes of meetings which confirmed Mr. Galvin said.
Yes, as I said earlier this morning, 14.
Just repeat that for us, please. We didn't get it.
Mr. Chairman said, and as he said this morning, unfortunately we can't ask him.
Thank you. Yes, Mr.
And not only that, but my team have done a search through all the available documents and records, particularly those before the Zitzman inquest. And they've searched for the words permanent removal. And outside of the 7 June 1985 signal, they don't find reference to permanent removal anywhere outside that particular signal. You accept that?
Do you accept that my Lynn French team made a search? They searched the word permanent removal, and outside the signal, they searched everything, including the signal. I couldn't find reference to the word permanent removal. Do you accept that? Will you comment on that?
No.
The witness accepts that. He doesn't want to comment on that.
Thank you.
And then we also did a search for any recommendation around banning or banishment. And we want to refer Mr. Stemmet to a document that has already been referred to by Mr. Stemmet himself in one of his statements before the Zitzman inquest dated 18 November 1992. That's at page 11 to 13 of the bundle. And Mr. Stemmet made reference to this document from the Commissioner of Police. It says the Commissioner / Minister of Police. It's a memorandum. It's dated 1985, 25 June of that year. It's titled Voorgestelde optrede teen Matthew Geniwe Swartman uit Onderwyser Cradock. And this is it's at page 412 of the bundle. It's at item 17.
What is that?
This is okay. We're there. Thank you, my lady.
Thank you. So the options of banning or banishment under the Internal Security Act was considered in this very substantial document. I'm not going to take you through it. It's way too big. But what I want to point out to you is that is the date of this document. It's 25 June of 1985. So it could not have been used prior to 7th of June 1985 when the signal was sent. This could not have been the document that Mr. Galvin was referring to, given this was now towards the end of the month, only 2 days before the murders. Do you agree?
That's right.
Do you agree that this document, what this is an internal departmental memorandum to the Commission and the Minister of 25 June 1985. I would have said yes to you that this document could not have been used before 6 June, the 7th June and the signal. You agree? What's wrong? It post date. This document could not have been used prior to the signal being formulated.
What is the date of this document?
25 June 19.
That was after the signal.
Long after.
No, no.
Do you agree with my learned?
Yes.
The witness agrees with my learned friend's statement to him.
Thank you. And in any event, the recommendation made in this document was for the potential use of a banning order, but not a banning order that would have resulted in the removal of Mr. Ganiwa to some faraway location. I want to refer you to page 447
Before you
of the
go
bundle.
on, now with respect, my learned friend, before you continue, my lady, we just have a look at the recommendation because we have no idea what that is.
Yes, and that's why I'm referring you to this particular page, because I'm going to read the recommendation.
No, but are you taking us to the recommendation?
Yes.
Thank you.
It's page 447. It's the English translation, paragraphs 19 and 20. So it's the last page of the memo. You can see that it's from Commissioner P.J. Kutsia, who at the time I believe was Commissioner of Police. It reads as follows. The other alternative is the possibility of a banning in accordance with Article 19 to 21, that would be of the Internal Security Act, in Cradock or elsewhere. And here's the line I want to emphasize. In this case, a banning somewhere else would produce mostly the rotten apple result. In other words, another area is activated. Paragraph 20, a banning in Cradock, and then also a B banning, milady, a B-class banning would be restricting the individual in question to his or her home between 1800 hours and 0600 hours. So a banning in Cradock and then also a B banning seems to be the most appropriate step under the circumstances if his actions meet the requirements of the Act, which will have to be determined by the Director of Security Legislation. So even the police, Mr. Stemmet, were not recommending a banning or banishment to a faraway location. You see that?
I'm going to have to take my time, but I will do it, obviously, so that you can hear it and correctly if I'm not doing it to your satisfaction. I've explained to the Senate what it is that we want you to comment. This is, as I've said, an internal police memorandum to the Commissioner and Commissioner to the Minister, recommending one of two things. Clause B, banishment to the U.S. This is subsequent. This is, as we see, in the 35th. And subsequent to that meeting, we formulated the recommendation of the appointment that we started earlier. This is now the Commissioner advising his Minister, but the Commissioner is advising his Minister. But there are two objects. One is Class B, Category B, banishment and Perkin, or a reappointment as a teacher. And then a comment on that. And but my learned friend has put you to the end, not even at the level of police was the removal to a different town recommended. Do you have any comment on that?
No.
No comment.
All right, then finally on Mr. Galvin's statement, he says at paragraph 13, the Secretary of the JMC, Colonel Lawrence du Plessis, undertook to forward the recommendation by the Regional Head of Education and Training to the State Security Council without delay. I must put it to you, Mr. Stemmet, we also looked for any reference to that allegation and could not find it anywhere in the record.
Tell me that they're not accepted. Can't find it, we can't find it.
I didn't quite hear that.
Mr. Stemmet accepts that if you can't find it, you can't find it. We've got no explanation for it or comment.
Yes, thank you. Now, Mr. Stemmet, can I get your response to the finding of Judge Zietsman in the Zietsman Inquest that the permanent removal signal was a proposal to kill those identified in the signal?
No, I don't agree at all.
Yes, I think the witness stated that earlier, Mr. Vani.
As the court pleases. Now, Mr. Stemmet, I want to put to you a statement made by a security branch officer by the name of Jaap van Jaarsveld. Mr. Jaap van Jaarsveld applied for amnesty for his role in scoping out the most appropriate way to eliminate Mr. Ganiwe and Mr. Kalata. And in his amnesty transcript, and lady, this is not part of the bundle, but it is in volume D at page 1049. It's the amnesty transcript of Mr. van Jaarsveld of the 2nd of June 1998. Mr. van Jaarsveld was asked by Mr. Bezos, I believe it was, for his views on the discussions, the extensive discussions on the reappointment of Mr. Ganiwe. And he said as following: yes, Mr. Chairperson, where people said that he must be reappointed, I can just come back to what we talked about earlier on, and disinformation, government's propaganda. It could have been the decision that to kill Ganiwe had already been taken, and that they went through the steps as a smokescreen, as a disinformation propaganda process, saying that the government has got nothing to do with it. What's your response to Mr. van Jaarsveld suggesting that the discussions on the reinstatement were a smokescreen?
Sir, to be honest with you, very honest, Van Jaarsveld served with us for about a year. He was incompetent. He was a junior, very junior police officer. We sent him back to the police. The information he had, he got from his wife. He himself was not capable enough to collect any information. I would ignore his evidence in total.
So, would you be disagreeing with Mr. van Jaarsveld?
No, not at all.
And would you be disagreeing?
Pardon?
Would you be disagreeing with him?
Yeah, I'm disagreeing with him, and he was in no position to make that statement. He had no information about the matters.
Well, I must put it to you that on the probabilities, we will be submitting to this court that the claims made by Mr. Galvin in his statement of 2020 in relation to the source of the permanent removal from society, we will be submitting that that was a fabrication. Your response?
I don't know. I've known Galvin, and he was not the type of person who would fabricate anything.
We will be submitting that, given that there isn't a whisper anywhere else in the documentation, that reinforces our view that Mr. Galvin fabricated that version.
They would be submitting that based on the fact that they can't find anything that supports it, or where it was said that Mr. Galvin fabricated. Do you want to comment on that?
No, Galvin would never fabricate it, but if you cannot find any documents confirming his appointment, just leave it. I can't comment on why he made the statements and on the contents of it.
We will also be submitting to this court that while we don't doubt the sincerity of the Department of Education and Training officials who were seeking the reinstatement of Mr. Ganiwa, but we will argue that on the probabilities, that from the perspective of the security officials, that their involvement in relation to the reappointment of Mr. Ganiwa, that was a smokescreen to put up a paper trail of plausible deniability.
That was the reappointment aspect of the matter. There was a smokescreen to basically hide the real input.
I see you are quoting Hayasveld again.
The real input.
I see you are quoting Hayasveld again. I deny it. And from Hayasveld was not capable enough or competent enough to make a statement like that.
All right, let's move on, because it is quite late in the day. Now, it does appear, Mr. Stemmet, that you are of the view that the killings of the Cradock 4 was a private frolic or a private exercise of the police, in particular the Port Elizabeth Security Branch.
I think it was security branch in Port Elizabeth, and it's high time that they are charged.
So, on that score, we're certainly in agreement. But my question to you, if the police in Port Elizabeth, in particular the security branch, if they acted without authority from national state security structures, in other words, they would have brazenly defied the process taking place in the State Security Council, one would have expected them to have been disciplined, reprimanded, or maybe even charged. Do you agree?
Okay.
If they had defied the process, the local security branch people, then one would have expected them to be disciplined.
Yes, of course. But as I said, as an old prosecutor, I would have, if I had adopted and I'm sure of my case, I would have prosecuted them, whoever was guilty. And say again, they should have, if they are guilty of an offense, they should be charged, and they should have been charged long ago. Not years, not great years to charge people like nowadays.
And yet, Mr. Stemmet, there's no record whatsoever of any discussion about taking action against so-called wayward activities of the security branch and the police?
I wouldn't know that.
There's no record of any discussion about the wayward conduct of the security branch and the police.
In conclusion, Mr. Stemmert, and perhaps before I put my last assertion to you, I want to thank you for lasting this long. For a man of your age, we greatly appreciate you staying the course. But I want to put it to you, Mr. Stemmert, that the operation to murder the Cradock Four was in fact authorised at a national level and was not a private frolic of the police in Port Elizabeth.
Yeah, but then I comment on that is that the state security, the national security management system was never, ever involved. They could not give instructions for murder at all. The State Security Council had no executive powers. We had the Secretariat, had no executive powers. So we could not give instructions to kill people or not kill people and things like that.
Yes, but it's also your evidence, Mr. Stemmert, that you were only involved in administrative oversight. And in your evidence earlier this afternoon, you conceded that you did not have knowledge of security operations taking place in other sections of the State Security Council or the Secretariat. So you simply don't know.
I did not agree. I asked you to which branch are you referring? But now you are changing my words. There was no other branch, there was no branch at the State Security Council who could give any orders or take any decisions about removing people permanent from society. Not one of them.
Well, we did speak about the various branches. I'm not going to repeat that evidence. My lady, we have no further questions.
Thank you. Mr. Schoeman? Thank you. Any questions?
My lady, no, nothing else. I might respectfully remind you that Mr. Sillier is still online. We may forget about him being virtual.
All right. Can you get Mr. Sillier on the line? Does he appear to be on the line? Yes. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Sillier, was that you?
Lady, may I speak on behalf of Mr. Sillier? We have very bad reception, but we do not have any questions for Mr. Stemmert.
Thank you.
Yes, I could just come in now. Sorry, my reception isn't that bad, but I confirm that we haven't got questions for Mr. Stemmert.
Thank you very much. Mr. De Meyer?
Lady, I have no questions. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone I'm leaving out? It doesn't look like. Thank you. Mr. Stemmert?
Lady, I would like to redirect with your permission.
Yes, you may.
May I respectfully remind your ladyship? Can I continue?
Yes, you may continue, Mr. Hughes.
I respectfully remind your ladyship of the fact that we were appointed at a very late stage, had little time to prepare, and I would ask for, and we have learned as we went, even this afternoon. May I ask for a little bit of leeway when I redirect the witness? I won't be long, and it will be a limited aspect of the matter. I understand, of course, remains welcome to our text. Firstly, Mr. Stemmer, you appointed a
Is
committee
your son here? Is he coming?
to resolve
What is it?
attempt to resolve
I want
what you perceive as a dispute. You appointed a committee to attempt to resolve different approaches by principally the police and the Department of Education and Training as to what should be done in connection with Cradock, Mr. Duniwe and Mrs. Duniwe and Talata specifically.
That is correct. But I said, not only myself and General Finance appointed this committee.
And this committee was chaired by,
General Geldenhuis.
and General Geldenhuis reported to you, according to your evidence, that he was 95% on the road to an agreement between the two departments. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And then you had written a letter. You can't recall having written that letter, but in which it is recommended, am I correct, that they be reappointed.
Yes, that's correct.
And then you've been referred by my learned friend to a departmental letter of the Department of Education, which reads, the SSRC functioned as a clearinghouse for interdepartmental conflict. It lacked the machinery, mandate, and equipment to carry out physical operations such as arrests or eliminations. My learned friend has suggested to you that that's an acknowledgement or an admission that arrests or eliminations could be resorted to, but that you simply, your section simply did not have the capacity to perform elimination. I ask you this. Would you have allowed or tolerated a committee appointed by you to mediate between two departments decided to carry out an elimination?
Never, never, ever. Never, ever.
Thank you, Mark.
I'm relying career as a public prosecutor. I prefer to be in magistrate. If you commit an offense, you should be charged. And I think I have a lot of experience on that, and that is still my attitude. And I do not like it at all, what is happening in this country now, that guilty people are running around for 10 years and longer. They should be prosecuted, and the guilty people here should still be prosecuted.
Thank you, my lady. I have no further questions. I express my appreciation for your indulgence.
Thank you, Mr. Hughes. Mr. Stemmet, you do, however, bear in mind the proposition that was made to you, that all that talk about reinstatement and banishment was a smoke screen.
That was a smoke screen, was by Van Jaarsveld, and I say that Van Jaarsveld was not competent to make statements like that. He had no knowledge, he did not have sufficient knowledge to make statements like that.
Okay, are you done?
I'm done, thank you very much.
All right. You've been thanked by everyone for having come to court to tell us what you know about the matter. Someone whose name I'm not going to mention had indicated that you were elderly or you were of advanced age, and I beg to differ with those. You have held on very well. You are a young man. Very energetic. Kept us busy the whole day. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, my lady.
Thank you. Does that bring an end to business for the day?
Yes, it needs, lady. That's the only witness for today.
All right.
Start with the okay.
Okay.
My lady, tomorrow again is the witness will be testifying by video link. If we can start at 10 again tomorrow.
All right. Okay, we'll adjourn until 10 o'clock tomorrow.